My name is Claire Millikin, and I'm reading from my book, Elegiaca Americana. Elegiaca Americana just means elegy for America. That's what it means. And I'm going to be reading three poems, and I'll read them, in succession. So I won't discuss them further, but I really wanted to focus on these poems today because they emphasize an aspect of Elegiaca Americana that I think has been a little overlooked, and they're poems about race. So there are poems where I am sort of building out in some ways from my own experience growing up in a sort of messy, dysfunctional white family and looking around at the other messes in the southern towns that I grew up in. That is the problems of racism. So this first poem is called Varieties of Cinematic Experience with My Namesake, and it's about grandmother Claire, my namesake. Turning 13, I came to dislike being seen. Grandmother, namesake, took me to the movies. Here's what looking's all about, she'd say, as we walked toward the dark screen beyond the brick-walled movie theater. Brickwork of houses and boundary walls, insects flew up from red dust, numberless, like that moment in bad dreams when your nakedness is the earth's. She touches my wrist, look, her voice human and fierce against the movie actress's dolorous purr. Insects rise from dirt, ashes of long buried fire. Red on red semblance of our ergot. But we've swallowed nothing other than coffee and small sips and bitter chocolate cake, baked by women whose honey dark skin sets them at the town's edge with never a way in. Force is the place where language cannot work. River, cinematic theater, pulling back and forth, all that is not heaven gleams through it. It was they we sinned against. And there is a word in that poem that everyone might not know. So ergot, E-R-G-O-T, is just a hallucinogen, like a natural hallucinogen. The next poem in this trio is called Selfie on the Path Between. And this is about the path between where we lived and the housing authority complex, which was occupied by African-American families in that town. Selfie on the path between. That path led also, if you took it far enough, from the church parking lot through Kudzu Gulch to the housing projects. My older sister protected me from boys until I turned 7. Then she said, "You're big enough to fight them yourself." The path between won't stitch back. It threads the attic where grandmother discarded her daughter's dolls among leaves that drifted in through gaps of earlier autumns. At school, the kids from the projects got treated like dirt, and it hurt to see it, as if your own clothes were torn when they weren't. They weren't the ones I was afraid of. I feared my own kind. From playgrounds, children at their games cry out in despair or ecstasy. It can be hard to tell which. And the last poem in this trio is called Shadow Family. I think it's a pretty self-explanatory poem. It's about a house that was actually outside of town where my grandfather would go to fish. It was like his fishing house, his fishing shack. Shadow Family. Downriver, another family lived, same name on the mailbox as grandfather's. Grandmother joked it was her husband's shadow family, meaning the children of a white man with a black woman in concubinage. Not sure how that was funny. There is nowhere in America to walk away, a shadowless sky in Georgia, azure symmetry, running from that history on a path that keeps returning. Shadow family, a name is a name is a name. A woman is a daughter who lives somewhere, nowhere, under the shadow line. Thank you.